Today we're talking about all things duck hunting. Welcome to the Bakcou Podcast. Hi guys, welcome back to the Bakcou Podcast. My name is Kelch, and today we are talking about all things duck hunting. And we have a guest here today from Bakcou named Brett Roberts. Right here, here's our guest.
Yep, I am Brett Roberts.
Good.
And I'm excited to be here today.
Okay, now Brett, tell us a little bit about what you do here at Bakcou.
So my title here is I'm a dealer relations manager. I've been here for about 6 years. So basically, I do outside sales. I manage half of our dealer network, and try to land new dealers and move some inventory.
With your dealers, like who would qualify as a dealer? Like, could anybody be a dealer here at Bakcou?
You know what? Anyone. I mean, as long as you have a storefront or an online website. Obviously, we have qualifications. We have minimums that we expect our dealers to hit and everything. But really, all we look for is people that, strive in the outdoor industry, that, like have an interest in bikes and, really want to support Bakcou and help us, get our product out there.
Yeah. I mean, what are the benefits of being a dealer?
Benefits of being a dealer, you get to become part of the Bakcou family.
You get free hats, right?
And you get free hats.
Yeah.
You get bikes at a discount, which is obviously super beneficial. This here is Blue Girl. She wanted to introduce herself.
Well, she's here for the duck hunting podcast, so it's very appropriate to have Blue here.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So,
well, cool. All right. Well, so dealers is your thing, but we brought you on here mainly for duck hunting.
Yeah.
So you're our resident duck hunting expert, or as good as we can get.
Well, I would definitely not consider me an expert. Far from it. I do really enjoy duck hunting, and I have a lot of things to learn. But I'm happy to discuss kind of some things that I know. If I do know anything, I'm sure a lot of other people out there know more than I do. So, but I'm happy to be here to talk about it.
Well, cool. I mean, I think that's like with everything in life. I mean, with hunting especially, you're never like a 100% complete expert. You never know everything. So, I mean, we're all here to learn. So if you guys have any tips or tricks that you want to share with us or share with the audience, put them in the comments below. We definitely, we might even do an episode on them if you guys have a question. And
yeah.
we can look up someone who knows more about it than we do, which wouldn't be hard to find someone who knows more.
No, definitely wouldn't be hard. And I think that's the cool thing that I really love about hunting. I know right now we're focusing mainly on waterfowl, but I'm a big archer too. And every time you're out, you learn something new, just how to adapt and, errors, a lot of things that you can learn from hunting. So I just think hunting's a great thing in life. You learn a lot, and it's just, it's all about consistency and, learning how to rebound from your failures.
So now, how long have you been duck hunting?
So I have been duck hunting for probably only about 7 years now.
Okay.
I grew up kind of big game hunting with my dad. I always thought duck hunting would be boring. I didn't think there was much to it. It was actually my older brother that got me into it. He basically forced me out to go duck hunting one day, and I was not very thrilled about it. I remember it was a rainy day, pretty cold, windy. But we went out there, and the first duck I ever shot, it got me hooked. So I still thank him to this. Well, I don't know if I should thank him or, be upset about him, because thousands of dollars later,
I've
here
seen
I
your
am
setup.
with an addiction. So
yeah. Today we want to talk about some tips. So what would you say are like your top 5 essential items to take duck hunting? Like if you were just going to start up duck hunting right now, like say if I were going to start duck hunting, what are 5 things that I would absolutely have to have? I mean, obviously a gun.
Yeah, obviously you're going to need your gun. I use a 12 gauge, but I know you can use a 20 gauge. Everyone has their preference on weight and, what they like to shoot, pump, semi-auto. I'm a firm believer that you need decoys. I don't think you need too many of them, but you do need some decoys. I think it always helps attract some birds. I would invest in a good pair of waders.
Okay.
You know, waders are what you'll be in the whole time you're out duck hunting, so being comfortable is pretty important.
So what makes a good pair of waders?
I would say
Waterproof?
waterproof, and then the boots.
Oh, yeah?
I have a pair of the Sitka waders, and I don't think I'll ever go any other way. But I know there's a lot of good companies out there that have a great wader.
Yeah.
But I had an opportunity to get a pair of Sitka waders at a good deal, so I did it, and I don't think I'll ever change. So.
Okay, so we're talking like a shotgun. You said decoys, waders. What else do we need?
You're going to want a nice coat when you get into the late season. Those hunts can get pretty cold. And then also some good waterproof layering, like a good rain jacket is pretty beneficial. You're obviously going to want ammo for your shotgun.
Yeah. What about gloves? Are there specific gloves you need to use, or do you want to use gloves?
I do use gloves when I'm going to my spot. When I'm hunting, I actually don't use my gloves just because it's a little bit harder to shoot. But then, I'll have hand warmers or whatever in my pockets to keep my hands warm. Okay. But a good pair of waterproof gloves could be nice when you're taking down your decoys, setting them up. Especially late season, it can get pretty cold out there.
Now, you talked about your spot. We're not going to reveal your spot because we're just not going to.
Yeah, that's the unwritten rule of hunting.
Yeah,
you don't reveal your spot.
Yeah, I mean, I know where it is.
Yeah, you do, which you're lucky about that. So
I know. I feel very privileged to know. But getting to your spot, what are like a couple different ways that people use to like getting your whole duck hunting scenario? So like with a blind, or like how do you get yourself set up when you get there?
Yeah, so where I go, I just sit in the tulies. I don't necessarily have a blind. It would be nice to have one out there, but it's quite a ways out there, so transporting a blind out there would be not so fun. But I just hide in the tulies, the thickest cover I can find. Kind of depends the area I'm in. Every year it's different. There's new growth, or they cut the weeds out there, whatever it may be. But yeah, the more cover, the better. So the thicker the tulies, the better. The taller, the better. I didn't believe it at first, but ducks do see you, and they won't commit to your decoys or anything. So the better you're covered, the more ducks you're going to shoot.
Okay, now how far away from your decoys do you think you should be? Like, can you be like right on top of it, or should you have like a certain amount of distance to you?
I don't necessarily know if there's a science behind that. I always keep mine 15 to 20 yards in front of me, and then it just depends on the layout that I use, whether you do a group. I know there's the basics of the J and the U. I kind of just group mine together with little pockets for the ducks to land in. I think that kind of works best for where I hunt. So
okay, and we will tell one thing about where you hunt. You hunt in Utah.
I do hunt in Utah.
It. So so this might not work in like if you're in Minnesota or Michigan or
I've actually
Florida.
never been out of the state to duck hunt. I went on a big snow goose hunt.
Oh,
and that was like the border. I actually don't even remember where I went. It was a good hunting trip. That's all I remember. That was a few years ago, so that was a good time. But yeah, I've never been out of the state duck hunting, so I haven't had that experience of out of state hunting. So
okay, no, but you hunt other waterfowl as well, like geese or?
I do.
Swans.
I've killed one swan.
Okay. Cool.
That was pretty neat. So that's a draw. Like you have to get a tag for a swan, so you can't just go out and shoot them.
You don't have a limit.
Yeah, you can't.
Like
you shoot one, and
that's your limit.
That's your limit. You got to make sure you tag it and everything. So, but I have killed one swan, and I've only drawn out once, so that was pretty cool. Hopefully gonna draw out again this year, and hopefully get to do it again.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, I hunt geese as well. I'm not the biggest goose hunter just because I don't quite have the, geese decoys and everything. And I don't know, I just get into the ducks, and that's about all I focus on during that season. So
Okay. Well, if you could get what would be like your dream setup? Like if you could shoot anything you want on the waterfowl, like would you get a boat? Would you get a blind? Would you get
I think I would get an airboat.
An airboat?
An airboat, yeah. An airboat, I just think they're very beneficial in Utah just because, I mean, you don't necessarily need a ton of water for an airboat to function. So you can get away from people. That's a big benefit in Utah. If you can get away from people, you're going to shoot more ducks. And I think that's just probably about anywhere you go. If you can get away from people, you'll kill some ducks. So
now we did have Blue here.
Yep.
How long have you had Blue?
She's here napping by my feet. But I have had her for, I think, 9 months now. So she's 9 months old. I had my first season with her just this last winter. She was 4 or 5 months at that point. She did really good.
And you're still training her, right?
Yep, still training her up. She's doing really well. She's a good pointing dog. So I wasn't really into the pheasant hunting, but when I got her last year, I took her out, shot a few pheasants over her. She's done great. But yeah, I'm in the training phase right now. So it can be tough, but once she's dialed in, it's going to be really fun to watch.
That'd be cool. Now, what breed is she?
She is a Drahthaar.
Oh, and she's beautiful, I gotta say.
She is a pretty dog. I get a lot of comments on her. So
yeah, and she's always here at the office, which is
she is.
It kind of adds to the office vibe here.
That's a benefit. One of the benefits we have here is they've let me bring Blue in, and she has her own bed by my desk, and all the workers love her here, and she gets a lot of attention. So yeah, it's awesome.
I was just sitting on the couch just working, and I look up, and she's like 3 inches from my face. I was like, "Oh, hi, Blue."
Yep. She likes attention. She likes pets, and she also loves to. As soon as we get out in the hunting environment, she's a whole different dog, which is awesome. She's exactly what I wanted. So.
Oh, perfect. All right. So now, last question we're going to talk about, and that is just hunting with a buddy. So there are rules for hunting with a buddy, or best practices, probably more is a better way to describe it. What would you say are those best practices?
One, you got to make sure, when your safety's on and off. You hear those horror stories out there that, one of their buddies gets shot, they trip, gun goes off. So you got to make sure you follow the simple safety rules. And then just knowing where you're at, whether they're on your left or your right side. Know your shooting limits. Don't be shooting over their head. Ear blasting them. Because when birds come in, it gets exciting. So you can turn around to go shoot, and your barrel's right over their head, and it rings your ears. So you got to be careful with that.
Yeah. Do you wear any ear protection when you're out hunting?
I don't. I probably should, but I don't. So
okay.
I just think it's an annoyance. I don't really love ear protection, but
no.
I know some people do. I know when we were on that snow goose hunt, we did, just because there's a lot of shots going. So
yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Brett, thanks so much for being on the Bakcou Podcast. Really grateful to have you here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good time. Easy to talk about. That's something I love to do. So
yeah, well, and we'll definitely have you back some other time too.
Absolutely.
So yeah, but thanks again, and thank you everybody for joining us here on the Bakcou Podcast. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and check us out next time. Thanks again.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hey y'all, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. And as a special thank you for sticking around, we would love to send you a hat. Could look like this, could look a little bit different. If you want one, fill out the link below. We'll get it sent out to you. Thanks again.